thank you. What's our topic?
I've been picking up quite a lot of weariness in homeschooling mums. Comments on Facebook, emails that we've been getting. And I just think that it's important for us to perhaps address that as people who've been there, done that and got the t-shirt. You know, we've had our all fall downs and our really hard, tiring times. And maybe we can encourage homeschool moms so that they can finish their year strong. So I'm going to give it straight to you, and you can go with some of your initial thoughts, and then let's chat and see what we come up with.
Right. Well, as you were talking, what came to mind was actually just a funny picture that was sent to me on social media now of a wine bottle with some rude words on it about what an awful year 2020 has been. And I won't repeat those words, but it has just been a tough year. I mean, you know, we've all had to deal with lockdown and all the repercussions. And so in addition to the normal strain of homeschooling and the uncertainty that new parents often feel, it has just really been all round an exceptionally challenging year for everybody. So I think parents need to just give themselves a little bit of grace and accept that. But in general, homeschool moms are always questioning themselves and doubting that they've done enough. And they do tend to feel tired at this time of the year when they've had a year of trying to get children to do what they think is required to be the ideal homeschooling family, which is just an ideal that we're all trying to live up to. So I think we all need to realize that we have goals and we have ideals, and they're good to strive towards, but it's quite normal for the reality not to measure up to those dreams that we all have when we start out. And every year we start out with new goals and new dreams and new visions. And at this time of the year, you start to assess and you start to realize where you've fallen short. And so you do feel a little bit down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just acknowledging that tiredness is real. You know, we carry a bigger burden than many. And some of it is obviously the emotional, like you're talking about, have I done enough? And the other is just the physical thing of having to, you know, run your home and make your meals, and also, you know, spend time with your hubby. And then you've got the schooling, and then grocery shopping, and then activities, you know, getting kids back and forth. Luckily, there hasn't been too much of that with COVID, but it's been replaced with other things, you know. I've got a friend who's also got 4 children, and they have to schedule their Zoom meetings because they've got clarinet and they've got a piano, and then they've got this and they've got that, you know, all happening on Zoom. So it's still happening, and it just brings in a different thing. But I was thinking about a quote by Marilyn Herschel, and she talks about when homeschool moms lose their peace, it's important to cut back until that peace returns. And you can almost think of it as pruning of a tree. You know, you want to be able to bring growth in yourself and in your children, but sometimes you need to prune right back to be able to do that, so that you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. That there is a level of peace that is happening in the home, and look and assess carefully, what am I doing? What can I cut back? How can I get back to being a peaceful influence in my home instead of feeling completely exhausted and overwhelmed all the time? So that would be a good question, I think, for a mom to ask herself. You know, the first one that you've highlighted is great. Don't think that because it doesn't look like somebody else's that you haven't done enough. I think that you know, we kind of measure ourselves all the time to other parents and what we're seeing on Facebook, and you know, what the kid next door who goes to school is doing. That's
that comparison is very real and very a big cause of that feeling of not doing enough. I just recently got a message from my mom on Facebook saying her child has seen how much her school-going friends are doing and feels that she's not doing enough. And in one sense, it's great, because this 13-year-old girl now wants to take ownership of her education and take things a little bit more seriously and get more book work done academically. But at the same time, as I said to the mom, with the younger children, do they have the skills to learn anything that they want to learn one day? Because we can never fill all the gaps. I always go back to that quote about education is not the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a fire. So often we look at what the school is doing or what other people are doing, and we think, oh, they're cramming all these things into their bucket. But it's not about filling the bucket. It's about lighting the fire and giving our kids that desire to learn and the skills to learn whatever it is that they choose to learn. And so if you're having a bit of a wobbly and you think you haven't done enough, then just ask yourself that question, you know, have I delighted my children? Are there things that they like to learn or want to learn or will be able to learn one day if we don't get to it during this season where life always interrupts what you've planned? And I always found that quote so comforting when I had those wobbly days, and I still have them sometimes, when you just feel like life is too busy and I'm not doing enough and I could be doing more of this and I could be doing more of that. And then you just have to realize you can't do everything.
No, you can't. And I think that's actually very good to pull out another thing, is that one of the reasons that moms can get overwhelmed and tired is when they're actually doing too much for their children. We have discussed it previously, and I think it's an important thing to remember, not to do things for your children that they can do for themselves. So sometimes we think that is the act of love and service to our children, by constantly doing everything, making everybody's lunch for them, you know, going and emptying washing baskets and doing their washing for them. And we see those as acts of love and service. But in the grander scheme of things, remembering that we are wanting to raise adults, not children, it is better to say to your kids, you know, let them each have their own wash basket in their room. If they want clean clothes, they need to bring it to the washing machine. That you've got a chore schedule in place, that the kids are actually giving input and being productively busy serving in the home. Teaching kids to make meals, even if it means initially you've got to make the same meal every Monday with one child, every Tuesday with another child, every Wednesday with another, and you do that for 4 weeks. After doing it 4 times with you, you can say to them, right, Monday is your supper day, Tuesday is your supper day. You know, cut yourself some slack by handing over some of those tasks, which are life skills and valuable. You know, we've just launched 3 of our kids out of our home, and amazing to see that they actually can cook and clean and grocery shop, you know. So don't feel like you've got to do it all for them. Take some of that burden off your shoulders and teach and train your kids to work in the home and serve. And, you know, cut yourself a bit of slack in that space. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think we could probably just end off by saying, you know, it's normal to feel tired at this time of the year. It's normal to not have reached all your goals, and those are some tips of things you can do. Get your kids to do more and cut back on the things that are keeping you so busy that you feel like you're not getting to what's really important. And it's good to just reassess everything at the end of a year. And sometimes we do need to acknowledge where we have fallen short and we haven't been diligent in what we should have been diligent in, and try again next year.
Absolutely. Don't beat yourself up. Yeah, don't beat yourself up. There was just one more thing that I thought would be interesting to comment on, and anybody can go and actually do a little bit of Googling about it. It's a principle that Corinne Andriola came up with from her readings in the Charlotte Mason books, and it's called Mother Culture. And it's about taking time out for yourself. We're not talking about a consistent need of running away from your children. If you constantly want to run away from your children, there is a problem and you need to fix the problem. But that's something that, you know, you in your own home can sort out. But in terms of finding just a moment every day to do something for yourself, for me, it was my gardening. You know, I would get out into my garden, would regenerate myself and come back in 10, 15 minutes sometimes. And if I had more time, longer than that. So for some parents, it might be reading. Others, it might be you know, cooking. For others, it might even be just getting out with a friend and having a cup of coffee once a week. There is a place for that. It is important for moms to find a way just to recharge their batteries on their own. So if you haven't done enough of that as a homeschool mom, maybe that is something that you want to work into your curriculum for next year.
Good one. Wendy says go for a coffee with a friend.
Yeah, there you go.
Vision.
Anyway, lovely chatting.
Cheers, Wendy.
Cheers,
Bye.
guys.